Hey everyone, Hudson here, and welcome back to another video. So at the beginning of this year, Medium introduced their new boosted feature, which is essentially how they distribute stories to a larger audience. To be honest, I don't love this feature as I feel it takes the power away from the algorithm and puts it into the hands of a small group of humans. Although I love humans, people are inherently emotional and as such biased, whereas numbers aren't. That said, there are many positives to take from the boosted feature, and in this video I will be going over how to get boosted, how much boosted stories earn compared to non-boosted ones, as well as providing you with a handful of tangible steps you can take to increase the likelihood of your stories getting boosted and ultimately earning more money. Let's get into it. So essentially, boosting is one way Medium is looking to clean up their platform. It came alongside a series of changes Medium made in August of this year to reduce clickbait, how to get rich quick articles, and what they call meta Medium articles, which are essentially articles about Medium. Instead, they want authentic, personal stories. Boosting is a way for Medium to control the types of stories that go viral on their platform. They've assigned a pilot group of writers and editors to nominate stories they deem worthy of a boost to be boosted, which is a fancy way of saying these stories will be shown to a larger audience, garnering more views and hopefully more money. Like many of Medium's changes, I like the idea behind the boost feature, but the problem comes within human error. As the age-old expression goes, people lie, numbers don't. And since the introduction of the boost feature, I have noticed a decrease in the earnings of non-boosted stories. Because the algorithm no longer takes into account how long people are reading your stories for, it makes it harder for non-boosted stories to perform well on their own merit. This making the process of writing a viral article not as straightforward as it used to be. That said, there are also many positives to be taken from the boosted feature, one of which is the fact that Medium is very transparent about the types of stories they would like to promote. And being that the boosting is handled by humans, you can actually talk to them and hear their opinions. Before we get into how to get boosted, I think it's important to reveal if getting boosted is even worth it to you. So I've never been a big stats person, but to prepare for this video, I made a chart of all of my earnings since the introduction of the boost feature, and I compared my non-boosted stories to my boosted ones. And to be honest, I was quite shocked by the results. Okay, so what I've done here is recorded every story since the beginning of the boost feature, which was introduced in January. And the first thing I noticed was actually how few stories had been boosted. The boosted feature is essentially just an update of what Medium used to call chosen for further distribution. And in the past, they didn't always tell you when your stories were chosen. So I kind of thought that I had more stories that were boosted that they just didn't tell me about. From January of this year to the beginning of August, I wrote a total of 52 articles, this earning me a total of $4,726 in total new earnings. That is not accounting for the earnings accrued from my past articles. I've been writing on Medium since 2019, so I have quite a vast library of articles that earn me money each month. So this was an average of $90 per article, and if you include my total earnings, $5,627 for an average of $108 per article, giving me a monthly salary of $800 USD. It's a little bit under what I aim for. I generally try to hit $1,000 per month on Medium, but there were a few months here where I didn't write at all or just wrote a few articles, so that's okay. I will hopefully be able to make that up in the later portion of the year. If we go through my articles, you'll notice the ones that stand out here. On the left-hand side, I have the boosted articles, and on the right-hand side, the non-boosted articles. And out of the 52 articles I have written, I earned a total of $2,741 from my boosted stories and $1,985 from my non-boosted stories. Now, the first metric that stood out to me was how few articles I wrote on the boosted side and how much they earned. 3 articles alone accounted for over half of the earnings for the year. On the right side with the non-boosted articles, I wrote 49 articles. I essentially had to put in 16 times the effort to earn almost a third less. And this is very eye-opening to me because, to be honest, I put about the same amount of effort into all of my articles. So on the surface, it would seem as though the boosted articles are what you should be targeting as they earn vastly more money. That said, you don't need to get a story boosted for it to earn a substantial amount of money. So this story here has earned over $700 to date. And this one in particular is a good example because it's a story written specifically about Medium. Now, in an effort to reduce the amount of what Medium calls meta Medium stories, they have implemented a feature into their algorithm where stories that are about Medium itself are set to what they call network only. These stories will not be broadcast to anyone outside of your direct network, meaning people who follow you or the publication you publish the story in. This means you can't get access to any new eyeballs unless they find your story organically, and even if your story gets lots of reads and engagement, it'll stay within your direct network. So this story here obviously is about Medium and would have been set to network only, but it was still able to earn a substantial amount just because of the subject matter. People seem to like it, as is represented by the high read ratio, and ultimately it was a very successful article. So the point is, you don't need to get boosted in order to earn money from your articles. That said, obviously the boost is a huge help. Personally, in the coming months, I will be experimenting with targeting the boost because this breakdown showed me how much effort, essentially wasted effort, I put into my non-boosted stories. Okay, now how to get boosted. The first thing I would recommend to do is read Medium's updated guidelines. It maps out exactly what they're looking for and the mindset of the nominators when selecting a story for a boost. But if you don't have time to read the article or you would not like to, this is the biggest takeaway in my opinion. So essentially there are a few things that will automatically dismiss the potential of your story being nominated for a boost. And these are if the story is written by AI, if the story is clickbaity in its nature, or if it's a meta Medium story, which could be things like stories about the boosting feature or about how much you made on Medium or your experience on writing on Medium. As a rule of thumb, if you want your story to be boosted, just avoid the word Medium altogether. A great piece of advice I got was to, instead of saying the word Medium, say this platform. So avoid those and make sure your story has these 5 qualities. And after you have written the story, you want to present it in front of as many nominators as possible. And there are a few ways to do this. So in this article here, I found a list of people speaking about their experience in the nominator program. And you can see here not only who they are, but publications that they either own or submit to themselves. So these can be a great way to kind of enter the network of these boost nominators. If you like, you can follow these nominators, leave comments on their stories, just kind of tell the algorithm, hey, I'm connected to this person. Or you can look at the publications they submit to, maybe they are editors for, and apply to become a writer for these publications as well. If you go to Medium's help page, which again, I will link in the description below, what they've done here is provided examples of boosted stories. Now, what you can do is go to each of these stories, look at the publication it was published in, and apply to become a writer, because obviously these stories were able to be boosted in the publication, so you would have a chance of that as well. What you'll also notice are some of these stories aren't submitted to any publication. So this one here was boosted. It's in their examples of boosted stories, and it was just published to the author's profile. And this author here, or this writer here has less than 1,000 followers. So you don't need to have a lot of followers, and you don't even need to submit to a publication. If one of these boost nominators sees your story on their homepage, they like it, they can nominate it for a boost. That said, as is much of success online, it's a numbers game. So the more people you can get your story in front of, the higher chance it has of being seen by a boost nominator and being boosted. So when you can, it's always best to submit to large publications just to expand your reach. And since the boosting program is still in its pilot phase, Medium is still accepting applications, and they are actually looking to grow the program to, I think, around 100 nominators by the end of the year. If you're interested, you can actually apply to become a nominator. I will leave the link to the application form in the description below. They do have certain incentives, including a flat rate of up to $900 per month. Okay, that is the end of this video. For more information, I will have all the links in the description below. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I love responding to comments. And even if you don't have one, leave a comment anyway. Helps the algorithm, I'd appreciate it. Okay, I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.